Welcome to Headstones and Microphones, where we use AI to step into the past through a researched first-person simulation of history's most interesting people. I am your host, Calvin. While we've added some creative storytelling, our goal is to inspire your own study of these fascinating lives. Now, let's meet our guest. We have an absolute titan with us today. A man who redefined what it meant to play defense in the NFL. For those who may somehow not know who you are you?
I'm Dick Butkus. Most folks know me as number 51 for the Chicago Bears, the guy who played middle linebacker like his life depended on every single snap. I was just a kid from Chicago who loved to hit, and I turned that into a career that I'm still pretty proud of.
A Chicago legend through and through. When and where were you born?
I came into this world on December 9th, 1942, right in Chicago, Illinois. I'm a South Side guy, born and bred.
And what was your given name at birth?
My full name was Richard Marvin Butkus.
Is there a story behind your birth name?
I was the youngest of 8 children, 9 if you count everyone, and I was actually the first one in my family to be born in a hospital. I was a big boy right from the start, weighing over 13 pounds. My parents, John and Emma, were Lithuanian immigrants. They just wanted a strong name for their youngest.
13 pounds. You were a linebacker from day one. What was your hometown like growing up?
Growing up in the Roseland and Fernwood neighborhoods on the south side was everything. It was a blue-collar, working-class area. People worked hard for what they had. My dad was an electrician for the Pullman Standard Railroad Car Company, and my mom worked 50 hours a week at a laundry. It was a place that taught you the value of a dollar and the importance of grit.
That definitely explains the monsters of the Midway energy. What was your family life like?
It was busy. Being the youngest of 8, there was always something going on. We didn't have much, but we had each other. My brothers were all big guys, too. We'd compete at everything. My brother Ron actually played college ball and tried out for the Cardinals, so football was in our blood.
I can only imagine those family dinners. What kind of kid were you?
I was focused. By the 5th grade, I had already made up my mind. I was going to be a professional football player. I was a bit of a fierce kid, as society called it back then. I was tough because I had to be to keep up with my older brothers.
What were your biggest fears growing up?
To be honest, Calvin, I didn't have many fears when it came to the physical stuff. But I think my biggest fear was just not making it. I wanted so badly to play for the Chicago Cardinals back then. I used to go to their games at Comiskey Park. The idea of not reaching that goal was what kept me up at night.
Clearly, that drive paid off. What did you dream of becoming as a child?
It was always football. There was no plan B. I wanted to be out there on that field, hearing the crowd and making those big plays.
What were some of your favorite activities in school?
Well, obviously football was number 1, but I actually played some baseball too. I was a catcher for a team called the Sun Dodgers in the Chicago Park District. I even hit a home run once that drove in all our runs. But football at Chicago Vocational High School was where my heart truly was.
What was your first job?
When I was about 15, I started working as a mover with my 4 brothers. Talk about a workout. Carrying heavy furniture up and down stairs in the Chicago heat, that'll build some muscle on you pretty quick.
Moving furniture with the Butkus brothers. I feel bad for the piano. Was there a moment where you realized you were different from everyone else?
It was probably during high school. I was playing fullback, linebacker, punter, and place kicker. I realized I could hit harder and move faster than most of the guys across from me. I remember one year our defense only gave up 55 points in 8 games. That's when I knew I had something special.
What's a decision that changed everything for you, but felt small at the time?
Choosing the University of Illinois. I actually wanted to go to Notre Dame, but at the time, they weren't too keen on married players, and I wanted to be with my high school sweetheart, Helen. Choosing Illinois kept me in my home state and led to the Rose Bowl and eventually the Bears.
What was your biggest break?
Being drafted by the Chicago Bears in 1965. It was my home team. To be able to stay in Chicago and wear that jersey, that was the break of a lifetime.
What were your biggest struggles before success?
Just the sheer physical toll. Even in high school and college, I had to deal with injuries. I had a rough senior year in high school with injuries. and I had to work twice as hard to stay on the radar of college recruiters.
Did you ever consider quitting?
Never. Quitting wasn't in my vocabulary. If I couldn't walk, I'd crawl to the line of scrimmage.
Were there any specific daily habits or routines that you feel are essential to your success?
I believed in intensity. I worked hard because that's what society and my coaches told me I needed to do to be the best. I would visualize the game, getting myself into a state where I was ready to be the fiercest player on that field.
What job would you have had if fame never happened?
I probably would have ended up in some kind of labor job, maybe an electrician like my dad, or continuing with the moving business, something where I could use my hands and stay active.
What was your life like before fame?
It was simple. It was about family, school, and sports. We weren't wealthy, but we were happy. I spent my summers working hard and my falls playing hard.
How did relationships change after success?
You definitely see people differently when you're in the spotlight. But I stayed close to the people who knew me before the number 51 jersey. My wife, Helen, was my rock through it all.
Did fame bring happiness?
It brought opportunities, Calvin. It allowed me to provide for my family in ways I never imagined. But true happiness for me was always on the field or at home with my loved ones.
What was the downside of becoming famous?
The expectations. People expected me to be this monster 24/7. Sometimes it was hard to just be Richard Butkus, the guy who liked a good meal and a quiet evening.
What misconceptions did people have about you?
That I was just a brute. People thought I only knew how to hit. But I took pride in being a student of the game, knowing where the ball was going before the quarterback did. I had 22 interceptions in my career. You don't get those just by being mean.
What was your darkest moment?
It was when my knees started giving out. By 1970, the injuries were adding up, and knowing I couldn't play at the level I demanded of myself was incredibly tough.
What past regrets did you carry that you spoke about?
I wish I could have played longer. 9 seasons wasn't enough. I felt like I had so much more to give, but the body just couldn't keep up with the spirit.
Who had the biggest influence on your life?
My parents, for sure. They showed me what hard work looked like, and my high school coach, Bernie O'Brien, he was the one who really helped me hone that intensity.
What was life like in your final years?
I stayed involved in the game. I loved seeing the new generation of linebackers. I spent a lot of time in Malibu, California, enjoying the sunshine and staying active with the Butkus Foundation and the Butkus Award.
What were you working on in your career before you passed away?
I was always promoting the Butkus Award, which honors the best linebackers at the high school, college, and pro levels. I wanted to make sure the art of the tackle was never lost.
When and where did you pass away?
I passed away on October 5th, 2023, at my home in Malibu. I was 80 years old.
What happened?
I had suffered a stroke, which the doctors called a cerebrovascular accident. I'd been dealing with some heart issues and high cholesterol for a while, even had bypass surgery back in 2001.
What's a random fact about you most people have never heard?
People might not know that I was a huge fan of the Chicago Cardinals before they moved. I used to go to their games all the time as a kid.
What's the craziest rumor ever told about you?
Oh, there were always rumors that I played with hate for my opponents. I didn't hate them, I just loved winning more than they did.
What was your most unique habit?
Before games, I would try to find something to get me angry, some slight or some comment, to get that madman look in my eyes that people talk about.
What was your favorite food?
Being from Chicago, you can't beat a good steak or some authentic Lithuanian dishes from my mom's kitchen.
What was your favorite book?
I wasn't always a big reader of fiction, but I liked books about history and people who had to overcome the odds.
Did you have any known rivalries?
Ray Nitschke over in Green Bay, we were both middle linebackers in the same era, both tough as nails. There was a lot of respect there, but man, did we want to outplay each other.
Tell us a story nobody talks about.
People always talk about the hits, but they don't talk about the laughs we had in the locker room. One time, we were just joking around, and I realized that beneath the pads, we were all just kids who loved the game.
What's your funniest behind-the-scenes moment?
Probably some of the stuff from my acting days. Doing those Miller Lite commercials with Bubba Smith was a riot. People finally got to see that I had a sense of humor.
What advice would you give people chasing success?
Work harder than anyone else. Don't wait for success to find you. Go out and tackle it. And always, stay true to where you came from.
Dick, do you have any closing remarks about the interview or the stories you shared that you would like to share with the listeners before we sign off?
Just that I'm happy I got to share a bit of the man behind the jersey. Football's a great game, but it's the character you build playing it that really matters. Thanks for having me, Calvin. It's been a blast.
The pleasure was all ours, Dick. From the south side of Chicago to the Hall of Fame, your legacy is unmatched. And that wraps up another conversation from Beyond the Grave. Thanks for joining us on the Headstones and Microphones podcast. Remember, legends may die, but their stories never do. Please help spread the word by sharing and following the pod.